Welcome to another scenario review, this time, A Phantom of Truth.
In case you couldn't read.
So, before we get started, before we start about the mechanics, I like this one initially, and the discovery of it that is based on the short story from Robert Chambers' King in Yellow collection.
Yeah.
And I think they did a great job of referencing it.
Yeah.
Does it succeed? We'll find out. So in this one, you had to spend 3 nights in Paris as some sort of evil organist tries to kill you.
Why don't you just say whether you think it succeeds or not?
As in terms of a
this is
scenario?
a review. It's not like you're.
I mean, I was gonna I didn't want to skip everything right away. I want to talk about the theme of it first, because I think the theme did quite good for matching it. But is it fun or difficult? And overall, we'll get to those.
Well, no, we were just talking about. You asked about the theme. Did it live up to it? And you were like, I mean, that story isn't. I wouldn't say it's fun or particularly difficult. That's not what we're rating it against.
Was the story fun or difficult?
I guess so. Then I guess for the concept of this organist following you around every night in Paris, the theme works, and he is.
I think it lived up to the story. You can discuss the encounter deck now. There you go.
There's not many enemies in here, right? There's just these Biakis. What else is there in your stuff?
We got the Agents of Hasser one, which has more Biakis. And then we have the, what's that called? The Biaki encounter, which is more Biakis. There's the Stranger one. And then there's Black Stars. Or Evil Portents.
So there's really just the Biakis and
it's just a variety of
Mr.
Biakis.
Piano Man.
Which is nice. It's I'm glad they picked that encounter to just load us up on those. They're very Carcosa specific enemy.
And they also kind of Biakis they're very good at making you feel hunted. Mm-hmm. Just even the idea of them and the mechanics of them.
Other than the last ones is the only one where they really had the opportunity, because the other ones take place in the catacombs, and it makes sense to have Biakis fly around there. Yeah. But this one, it actually plays in the theme quite well. You got these things hunt you down in addition to the
Piano Man.
The Piano Man. And they'll pick you up and drop you off wherever they feel like. Because they're assholes.
They are. So I don't find this one to be necessarily too difficult.
No, we farmed this one super hard.
And we did it even...
No, the first time I remember we were like, wait, hang on.
We just need to survive.
The game's taking Doom off.
Yeah.
The agenda.
Yeah, it was real...
That was it's real different.
Yeah.
It's real different than any of the other...
things we've played.
Things that just really exist in this game right now.
Okay, let's start from the top then. Before you do this one, you get a little intro where you go through a dream sequence that is actually really interesting the way it's written. You have to look all over the page for it. Really, I really enjoyed reading it and going through it. Especially even the second time, which even though our things or decisions were pretty similar to our first run through, it was fun to read. It was thematic, and some of the things that happened actually mattered. You get a new weakness to your decks. Sometimes if you're not wrong, you get the downside for slaying the monsters at the dinner party. But and then you have Jordan's information. It's we never get, but it's if you have it, each investigator starts with 3 additional resources, and they start play at Montparnasse instead of normal starting location.
Which is a discarded card from your hand, gain resources equal to the number of brain icons on the discarded card. Yeah, we've never done that. Well, he's probably one of the hardest ones to investigate, so it makes sense that we've never done.
To investigate than they are.
This is another one that cares about doubt and conviction.
Yeah, and then at the end of it, you get the lost soul weakness, right?
You get that during the dream sequence at the start.
Which you guys make this weakness look easy. But both with Min and Jenny, I was 4 and 4 and 3 and 3, so it was a very hard test for me for each of them. So I hate this card.
Every time Drew was man, it's such a joke.
Yeah, and then I'm just oh, good.
Oh God, stop.
Yeah, I remember the first time we played through, and you were well, I have 4 of one. Yeah. And 1 of the other.
We can barely read, so that's good.
So that's great. But we're pretty sure you're the crazy one, not me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's a few things. There's like this torturous chords. Which
That one's
haunts
actually
Bryn.
like crippling.
Yeah, so it's a test brain 5. It fails with
can
torturous
be.
chords to play with threat area with one
can
resource
be.
on it for each point you failed by. Each time you play a card, increase that cost the cost of the card by 1, and then remove one resource from it.
So yeah, it turns out if you, like, I don't know, maybe draw the red shit on like 2 of them, then everything you play for the rest of the game is going to cost 2 more, and it's really hard because you've maybe like lost all your resources because you drew a squid chit or whatever on a different one and failed by like 4.
So,
Yeah.
for the theme of it,
Yeah.
do we feel like we're in Paris being chased by Mr. Organ Man?
I give this one a 3.5 because it does. You are in Paris. It feels like you're wandering around the town exploring. It's a very big location map.
Yeah.
It feels like he's chasing you, but he doesn't really feel like sort of an unstoppable force.
Yeah, like you're never really worried about him actually catching you.
And it's one of those things
Right.
that this
Yeah.
even comes with the idea that we did it wrong and we're playing with the opposite one of our current
Like the
objective.
hard one?
Yeah.
So, like, and even
Yeah.
then we were dealing with him, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it would go a long way if he had some sort of passive ability, like at the end of each turn, each investigator on his space takes a brain damage, or at the end of the round,
Or-
if he's exhausted, each investigator takes a brain damage. Just something to put
Or
a
even
little
just
more
go with
pressure
like
on.
the kind of the theme of his music, which is like remove resources or lose stuff. Like, so he just
Yeah.
basically slows you down.
If there's
right?
some kind of like over time, some kind of like resource drain.
Yeah.
Because
So-
as it was, we ignored him pretty much. We were like, yeah, you go like
Maybe.
evade him forever. We'll
Yeah.
go like do whatever we need to, and we'll just
We'll
like
just
soak
wait.
all the clues out of locations.
Yeah.
We'll kill all the victory guys. Like there were turns like I can't remember if it was the first, second time, but we actually discussed. We're like, hey, do we want to just like sit here and wait until we draw the victory minions to kill?
Yes,
them?
that
Like,
was it was the first time we got like we just were like, okay, we have time to kill. Let's
Yeah.
do it. Which
Yeah.
like the pressure, like it's almost good, but the pressure just isn't quite there.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
So like back to my awkward point, like it's a great theme, but I don't think they did it well. So I'm with you on that. You said like 2.53.
Yeah,
I would probably do-
I'd say 3.
I would also say a 3 just because like
Everything's good except for the pressure.
yeah, and
It's
but,
just a
like,
little too abusable.
I also like the lead in into it, and then when you first see him, you're like, wow, this is cool.
Yeah.
And then you're like,
That's it.
that's it. What do you say, Bryn?
Well, based on like exactly my last playthrough
Yeah.
of this, I would give it a 4 because these torturous chords
Very
were
torturous.
indeed torturous. I think I drew 5 of them
Yeah, over the course of the game.
over the
it's
course
like,
of the
oh.
game.
I mean, part of that too.
Otherwise, yeah, I'd probably be sitting somewhere around a 3-ish.
Part of that too is like you're playing York, who's very resource
Yeah,
intensive.
it's just like,
If
oh man, I could play all kinds of things. And the game was like, shovels in Paris cost 4 times as much.
You're like, that makes sense. They're French shovels.
Well, French shovels, what's
They're
the
foreign.
difference?
Is this one fun?
I think it's one of the 3.
Yeah,
Again,
it's one of
it's-
those things that like it's very fun, and then you're like, we just do nothing.
You just kind of like it just feels a little too dragged out. Like yeah, it's fun to be like getting one over on the game a little bit, but at the same time you're kind of like, is this it?
I will say this one reminds me a lot of the one where you have to throw the paint on the invisible monsters, and I feel like this one does a lot better for the long, the long Mythos pack, right?
Yeah.
Wait, this one like I didn't feel like the game was dragging on too long. I felt like the game was going as long as we wanted it to farm experience. Whereas like the paint one, it was just like, oh god, we've been doing this for 2 hours.
Because yeah, both this one and the paint one both took us 2 hours on each playthrough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if the Mythos deck had more hunter monsters in it,
even just
things
more
might be a
monsters.
little harder,
Even
or
just-
just more
Even
monsters.
just made
so
ways
then,
for
like,
him to like be more of a monster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
Or
like,
just
so like
make it
some kind
harder
of
to-
like just deals brain damage
Yeah.
if he's exhausted or something. Something to punish you for just dirtling.
Yeah. Yeah, man. That'd
Yeah,
be
to
cool.
make it
Well,
harder
makes
to
it
just
bad.
evade him and like run away forever.
Yeah. Or like
When he's invaded, they take even if he's like just if they're evaded, they take a brain damage. If he gets evaded, the person evading him takes a brain damage.
oh, that would be scary.
Mm-hmm.
Then you actually have to like run away. From
You'd
him.
actually have to like care about him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What were we saying that 3?
3,
Yeah,
yeah.
I can agree with that. It's fun.
it's really cool though.
yeah.
No, like everything about this scenario is
Yeah.
good. It's just like that one sort of glaring, the glaring lack of pressure kind of overshadows everything else.
Yeah.
Difficulty, man, this one's like a 2.
Yeah, like it's
I go even like as it is, like, we did it wrong. It was harder, and I still...
I will give the game, if you don't have someone who can evade 5, this one's a lot harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, like...
mostly, like, if you don't have a green guy or, like, Wendy.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
particular.
like, so with the evade 5, that's the one where you have to fight him, right? And the
Yeah.
evade 3 is the one where you have to evade him and survive.
Yeah.
So, like, you can really go in and know what you're going to do, right? Like, choose the option.
This was a 2, like, for me, it hasn't been hard in our experience, but I definitely could see a scenario where it is somewhat difficult.
And the Byakis also could
Yeah.
throw you for a loop.
Yeah, every once in a while, like, I mean, like you mentioned earlier, or in another review or whatever, like, it is a luck aspect, but, like, sometimes the Byakis just get you. So,
Yeah, I don't think this one's particularly difficult.
I do like that they built a whole scenario around the foot mechanic, though, mostly.
Yep.
Because that's kind of not been something that's done.
And overall,
Overall,
I want to say this one's a 3. I like it. I don't hate it. I feel generally positive towards it. The fact that like you get a lot of it, you can have a lot of experience to play with. At the end, feels good. That's definitely a plus to it. Being able to like, because playing some of the expensive cards is part of the fun of the game. Is being able to build cool,
yeah.
cool decks, and this scenario definitely,
it.
yeah, it
like, you wanna
enables
have
that a
fun?
little bit.
Just run away from this guy for 3
Yeah.
nights. I would go 2.53 as well. I feel like there's just a little bit that's missing. There's some excitement that's gone, but I also see
I think
exactly what
I think
you're
it'd be a
saying.
solid 2. Like if there wasn't the opportunity to get so much experience.
Yeah.
Another thing, another consideration of this that we haven't come up with is one before this is the Asylum one where you can just die. Potentially you
This
need
is the
3 new
reset for it,
investigators.
Yeah, and this is like the chance to rebuild if
Yeah, that's an excellent
if you
point.
died.
Yeah. What do you say, Bryn?
Yeah, I'd probably give this like a 3.5.
Cool.
I like this one. Torturous Chords is specific to this one.
Yep.
And
And
that
Bryn's
card
happy
is
for that.
really cool.
I'll never have to see it again.
It's very hard to play against.
Don't draw it.
Another positive of this one is they
Don't draw
really make
more
it
than one or
feel
don't fail your tests.
like you're going to a bunch of places in Paris.
No, they don't.
I said, no, yeah, they
No,
do.
I feel like they don't. Like, I mean, like,
You gotta buy rail tickets
Like-
and like.
No,
go
like
around on
it feels like a
train and-
city.
it does feel like a city, but like, to me, like, it also could, like, they're just French words on them, right? Like, I don't know. I know what could they do to make it more. So really, my sentiment is completely unfounded because how can they make it more like Paris, right? Unless there was
More
all French
flavor
on the back,
cards.
right?
Yeah,
Like,
and then you can't
can't
really,
read them. But like
Right.
that's just me being
Yeah.
nitpicky, wishing there was something more to it, right? But it's
No,
Yeah.
like you could go to the Montmartre and it's like, oh, you spend resources and trade in a baguette to have a supplier ammo token to a card you control. That'd feel more French,
it was one
right?
of those things that I feel like this is the kind of thing that led to them building the expedition and thing because they're like, how can we make you actually feel like you go somewhere,
Yeah.
right? So I'm excited for the next one, but my statement for that shouldn't be taken as serious because I'm like wanting something that isn't real. Like if it was all French on the other side, that would be cool. But it would be so unnecessary.
Or here's an extra pamphlet with translations for every card because we wanted this. We had one guy we said wasn't flavorful enough. Like, yeah, thanks.
If you do that for me, thank you. Thank you.
You
Fantasy
could just
Flight.
buy like a French copy.
Actually, something I
Of
could
this
have done
expansion.
is like have the flavor text be in French.
That'd be cool.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, it wouldn't impact the game.
Or like add like a French ally that you have to do very hard book tests for to try to have them tell you where to go, and then
I mean, and to be fair, the fact that this particular scenario takes place in Paris doesn't actually matter that much.
it's
No,
just
it's bridging
it's like a
on it.
reference
Yeah.
to No,
yeah, it's a
100%.
reference to this
Important part
story,
of
and they're like, that's where there's catacombs. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, the art's sick though. Like once again, they knock it out of the park. All the
yeah,
location
art's
art
like
is
10 out of 10.
fantastic. Yeah. Yeah.
Which is a strange thing to be saying about a Fantasy Flight game on account of their propensity for recycling art from previous games.
they really man, they must make a ton of money off of like Eldritch Horror and like Elder Sign because they're really pumping out like new art assets for this game.
I know there's 2 cards from the next one have both the Eldritch Horror box art and the Elder Sign box art,
Sick.
which is great.
Yeah.
All right, Phantom of Truth. Next up, we're gonna go underground. Spooky.